Thank you for being with us this evening. I was pleased to give the response to the governor's State of the State address this evening, and thought I would mention a few high points from my address tonight. The governor talked about the state's budget crisis and said we have to make sacrifices, and I think Senate Majority Leader Horsford and I could not agree more. These are trying economic times. The American reality today feels much different than the American dream. None of us feel very secure about our future, and it's obvious that the state has very difficult choices presented to it. I think probably the most remarkable thing about the governor's speech this evening was the lack of detail about some of the drastic cuts he's proposing. A 7.1% cut in per pupil funding for our K through 12 educational system. The total amount is $324 million over the biennium. The cuts to the higher education system are just staggering. A 52% cut for UNLV and a 47% cut for UNR. Cuts for every community college campus as well as Nevada State College. It basically would dismantle our system of higher education, and it would drive our best and brightest young people out of the state of Nevada.
Well, I can't agree more with what the speaker was talking about. Obviously this is a huge budget crisis that we're experiencing. It's the magnitude is very significant, and it's probably the worst budget crisis that our state has faced, if not one of the worst. And we do have to balance this budget responsibly, but we have to do that in a way that protects essential services and the priorities that we've set out. I agree with the speaker that what I saw lacking was really vision and a plan for how to move us forward. Beyond the cuts to K through 12 and higher ed, the proposals around the salary and benefit reductions amount to more than $800 million. The governor proposes to spend $220 million on a new prison while closing an existing one. And he takes money from the largest counties, resulting in more than $100 million loss. Those are constituents that we all serve, local, state governments working together. So this is not the answer. This budget is not the answer. We need solutions, but we need solutions that will work for Nevada. And I think that over the course of the next few weeks, the speaker and I, working together with our colleagues, as well as Senator Raggio and the minority parties, will bring forward the vision and the plan that we think will work on behalf of Nevada and Nevadans.
A couple of the other items that were not mentioned in the speech tonight is the governor indicated that he will protect our children on health insurance, but failed to mention that he's going to cut off all future children from that health insurance program by capping the Nevada checkup program. He also did not mention that he's planning a 10% Medicaid cut for hospitals and physicians in the community. We've had word from at least 2 rural hospitals that if the cuts were expanded, they would face closure. We also did not hear about the cuts to the mental health system. There are plans to cut more than half of all of the mental health clinics in the state, as well as the medication budget, and that was not mentioned in the speech tonight. Also not mentioned was the elimination of the office designated to fight Yucca Mountain. The Office of Nuclear Projects is being targeted for elimination under the governor's budget, and he provided no funding as requested by the Attorney General to fund the lawsuits that are currently pending in our fight against Yucca Mountain. So, I mean, I think the question that we have before us Is this the direction we want to go as a state? Does it make sense to cut the salaries of teachers when we want the best and brightest in those jobs? Does it make sense to have further cuts to education? Does it make sense to close the doors of opportunity for our students that want to go to college? Do we want to again overcrowd our emergency rooms with the mentally ill because we've shut down the mental health clinics? And are we ready to give up our fight against Yucca Mountain by closing down the Office of Nuclear Projects and not funding the money that's needed to fund the lawsuits? I think Senate Majority Leader Horsford and I think the answer is no. We can do better. We will do better as a state, and we will be working together over the next 4 months, as the Majority Leader stated, in presenting an alternate vision, working together for solutions that make sense and head our state in the right direction.
The new solutions include tax proposals.
We are certainly going to be looking first at our spending priorities. What is essential? For example, I cannot fathom that UNLV and UNR can sustain a 51 and a 47% cut. We might as well just close the campuses down if they're going to be deprived of that much money. We analyze our spending priorities, we decide what we cannot do without, we reallocate resources, and then we see what the gap is. I would think that we will look at revenue. We will look at room tax, for example. It's already been approved by the voters. The governor has indicated that he's supporting it. It is included in his budget. We've received suggestions at our town halls. Everything is minute, from allowances, abatements, lotteries. We have a long laundry list. And we're going to invite some of the individuals who participated in our town halls to come forward and have a series of hearings on these.
The governor said, I'll quote him, I've yet to see an example of any state that has a tax system that brings growth during good times and remains stable during down times. Why can't we have a system that takes advantage of the fact that we have legal gambling and lots of casinos most of the time, and then during a recession have something automatically kick in? Is that something that's on in discussion right now?
Well, it was interesting as I was listening to the governor's speech. It's more about what he didn't say and the points he didn't make and the reading between the lines. He didn't say that we have a stable revenue structure. He didn't say that our revenue structure works for us in good times and bad. He just said, you know, point to a state that's not seeing downturns in their economy and their revenues, which many states are seeing because of the historic national economy downturn. But I think the point is more what will work best for this state now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. We need a structure that works. And he did not lay that out tonight, unfortunately. And so we will have to work together, combing through inch by inch the budget to figure out, you know, how to find additional cost savings in order to prevent some of the cuts to education, higher ed, health and human services that the governor is proposing today.
We have some specific proposals already drafted and ready to introduce, such as a new budget stabilization fund. I mean, the very idea that you fund mental health clinics in good times and close them down in bad times makes no sense. Other states who are doing better have a budget stabilization fund that is funded by having a forced savings account, where states put aside, say, 1.5 cents, which is what's going to be in our proposal, of all new revenue to go into a fund, so that when bad times happen, you don't have to destroy the programs you need the most.